Oh, hi. You just caught me about to have brunch. I've got my mimosa here, and I've got another mimosa and another mimosa. I don't know how I'm going to drink all of this by myself. Who's going to help me?
I'll help you.
I'll help you too,
Oh my
guys.
God! Yay!
Yay!
It's
Just brunch. Welcome everybody to the first in-person
In-house,
It's
right.
Just Brunch.
On a couch.
On a couch. I'm not sitting in my bed.
Right.
I'm not sitting in Kate's bed.
So welcome everybody. How was your week, everybody?
It was good. We all hung out last night.
It was great. Yes.
It was really good, really needed, I think.
The three of us with another really great fellow MFA graduate, Daisy, who you've probably read about, and two of our MFA mentors, Rachel and Nalini. It was just like one of the best little dinner kikis I've had in a long time.
Yeah, we had dinner. We shut down the restaurant. We spent the whole night talking about writing and reading, and they started putting up chairs around us and
they were
shutting off the lights.
Windexing around the plates. Excuse me.
So then we shut that place down, how we do, and then we went to a bar, and it was just so good to see you guys in person and really get back in touch with each other, and just,
Do you think we drink too much?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that at all.
Drink up now.
Just enough. We drink just enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess today we're talking about the importance of community and having a writing group. And I think it's perfect after last night.
How apropos.
Apropos. It's like we planned it or something.
Right.
We kind of did, actually, because we're together in person today, which is a wonderful thing, for our monthly writing group. We aren't just three beautiful MFA grads. We're also three writers who support each other through a writing group where we submit new writing, we give each other supportive feedback, honest feedback, constructive feedback that helps us grow creatively. And I think that's a really great thing to talk about for writers, but for any kind of artist or any kind of creative person.
Yeah.
Definitely keeps us honest, which I think is really good. Kate and I have already graduated, and you're still in the program. So I know after I graduated, not very soon you're going to be done.
Yes.
But I know that having this writing group, though, is definitely, it's made me think about writing instead of just saying, like, oh, I really want to write this down and then going home and, like, watching Netflix, which is
15 hours.
for like 15 hours catching up on Queer as Folk. But I'm actually, like, turning out essays, which is really nice that I love writing, but sometimes I get kind of
That's the thing. Like, I mean, it's a cliche. Everybody talks about it. Like, writing is a solitary vocation. You're sitting there, it's just you, the keyboard, the screen, and it's often a blank screen for me. And it can be a little. It gets old. So if you can break that up every now and then with fellowship with people who are not just fellowship, but fellowship with people who are going through the exact same thing. I mean, it works wonders.
Yeah.
right.
And one of the great things about Zach, Kate, and me too. But there's also a fourth. She's not here today, but she'll be here probably soon. Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Is that we all have a different kind of niche and background as writers, and that allows our conversations to be that much more rewarding and varied and diverse. So, cheers to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We can pause right here. I need to make sure this is still filming.
And then it's not, like, fading.
Oh, yeah, it's good. I just couldn't see the green thing. It's fine. I'll edit it out. Yeah, so I think the other thing that's really important about writing group, I think Zach started touching on it with talking about sort of getting sucked into like a Netflix K-hole, is, after you graduate.
I've seen that one.
After you graduate from the MFA, you kind of just want to take a break from everything for a while. And then sometimes the break goes on and on and on and on. And having this writing group and meeting with you guys once a month, it gives me deadlines again, which is nice.
So important.
And also, I trust you guys. And, when you're in the MFA program, you're going to have people in your workshop, and you're not going to give a shit about what some of them think about your work. That's just...
No tea.
Right.
Yeah, no tea, no shade. They're going to be different writers than you.
Yeah.
They're going to be at a different point in their career, and their feedback just might not be necessary.
Right.
The beauty of starting your own writing group is that you can, create your own community and have full agency over who is looking at your stuff, and it just is much less of a time waster.
Right.
We talked about that last night about how effective are workshops really? Like, are they more effective really than creating your own? Is it important to get sort of strangers' work, or is it more important to be reading really good writers? We kind of had to talk about what workshops, what their actual benefit
I think
is.
just like with the writing group, you get out of it as much as you put in, and that's goes back to the importance of what Kate was saying about being in a group with people that you trust and can have that honest conversation with. So once you make that effort, then you're almost more guaranteed to get the kind of support and feedback that you need out of it.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's also kind of the two competing. I guess the idea is that going into a workshop with strangers though is that is going to be your audience. I mean, when someone's reading your piece, they're not going to know you at all.
That's true.
So that initial reaction is, I think, kind of important. But I also don't know if that initial reaction should be at that level of workshop, because I mean, we're workshopping first drafts. At least I am.
Yeah.
So I think having a stranger look at a first draft is kind of not. I mean, that's not helpful to me, because I think they are looking at it in kind of a more final stage that I'm not ready for. Like the piece that I submitted last workshop was really raw. Really, I had no idea where I was writing. And with your feedback, because you kind of knew how I write, how I want to write, that you kind of were able to kind of steer me into the direction I wanted to go. And I think if it was in a place that people didn't know my writing, I don't know if I would have gotten as much out of it.
So maybe in an MFA program, when you're in a group of people that you didn't necessarily choose, it's better to submit a later draft.
Right.
You're going to get better feedback.
Right.
Because they won't be asking all of these massive questions that you haven't even really grappled with yet.
Right, exactly.
But with people you know and trust, you can sort of say, I wrote this page and I don't know what to do with it, but I think it might be kind of good.
Right.
And that goes back to what Kate was saying about, the idea of being a writer, being in a writing group. The end goal is to improve as a writer, is to grow creatively and to make your writing better. So you have to kind of be a little selfish when you think about that, not just say like, oh, I'm in a writing group, so that's great. It's got to be a writing group that is going to help you grow.
Right,
yeah.
Right. That is
the same thing for workshop, anything.
Totally important. I know Da Chen talked about his writing group, and I think he was in I might be wrong, that he joined a writing group where he didn't know anybody, and it was, I think, Colors of the Mountain drafts. And he said that was really helpful for him because it was, I think he was in the final stages of his book, but it's that, what you were saying about, like, the point of the writing group is to get better. So I think that he, even though he was in those final stages, I think he obviously knew that he was missing something in that book, and he needed people's inputs.
And at that stage of the writing, when you're close to being done, that's when it's kind of better to have fresh eyes who have never seen your stuff, because you're getting close to the point of putting it out there in the world anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's almost like a test run to see how readers who you don't know respond to your writing.
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, I wanted to say one more thing about when Kate said, the idea of giving yourself deadlines, that's important, but it doesn't have to be like stressful deadlines.
Right.
Oh,
and,
no.
and that's one of the great things about workshopping with people that you like, because we understand, it's not like if a deadline is approaching and you're like, oh my God, I didn't write enough pages, not going to point any fingers.
Right.
Wait, sorry.
Right.
I don't know how to point.
Right.
I didn't submit this month, so
I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about in general.
Calling me out.
No, I'm just saying it's less. You weren't stressed about it, were you?
No,
Good.
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, no,
I just knew that I was not in a headspace to get good
and you
work
told us
done,
that.
and I didn't want to waste your time just submitting bullshit pages.
Right.
Not that I ever did that for MFA workshops.
Right.
Anyway.
Are we doing this? Okay, cool. I'm with you.
But I wanted to say, I think the most important thing about workshop, whatever kind of workshop you're in, whether you create it yourself or whether you're put in one by some random, system, some lottery system in a program, is to be open to feedback and criticism.
Jesus, that is the most
Okay, because
thing.
yeah, the most frustrating thing is spending a lot of time giving thoughtful feedback to somebody and having them just completely not open to anything at all. So if you're in a workshop, just write everything down. Just take notes. You don't know what's going to be useful for you later, and the questions that people are asking, especially if they don't know you, are very important. Because if they're confused about your work, you shouldn't be allowed to jump in and say, but this is what I meant.
Right.
Because they should know what you meant. So just
and you can't do that with your readers.
Open your ears, open
Otherwise,
your mind.
why be there?
Right. We're all sensitive. We all, take to heart when people don't like our stuff. But that's the beauty of being in a workshop with other writers, is we all understand how hard it is, but we also know that you have to hear it sometimes.
Right. And I think that's also probably really beneficial with working people that you know and trust, as well as because I know when I hear your criticism about my piece, I'm definitely not taking it personally, because I know it is not a personal attack, because we made
even
a choice.
When we laugh at you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That, we all made the conscious choice to be together here, and we all obviously respect each other's work, that if we didn't want to be around each other, we could definitely say, I don't want to.
This isn't working.
Well, this isn't working, actually.
Exactly.
So I think that's also a big part. But yeah, the criticism, the people that take it really, I think that people that take it really close, I think that a professor has always said that, putting distance between like your writing and your feelings about that writing. I mean, especially I only write nonfiction, so when I'm writing a memory, I was a terrible poet. I will not even bring that up.
One day we'll just feature Zach's poetry.
It's horrible. But she had always said about giving distance, that what I was writing about was very like what was happening to me like a month ago or something. So it was really hard for me to write about it kind of objectively, about like separating those emotions out of there. And I think that's really, really important about when you're doing that writing, though, especially when you're presenting it, is that separating that emotion from that piece. So when someone is, giving feedback about that piece, if you are really close to it, then I think you're going to have that reaction to it. And I think that's kind of getting into that workshop. You have to kind of be able, if you're submitting that piece, you have to be very aware to separate yourself from it.
Right, and why would you submit something that you wanted to so fiercely protect? The point of workshop is not praise.
Right.
I think the point of workshop, however, I think a lot of times people think workshop is just about criticism, and that they have to find something terribly wrong or they're not a very good reader or writer.
Right.
I think it is just as important to say, this is working, please keep this, do more of this, I love your voice here, I love this character. It's just as important to say that, but you have to put your ego aside.
Right.
You have to put your emotional attachment to the piece aside.
It's
and that's
practice.
hard.
It's practice, by the way, for when you publish your work. Because when you publish your work,
shredded.
You give up that control over who reads it and how they respond to it. So this is practice for, distancing yourself and letting the reader read it how he or she wants to and respond how he or she wants to and being okay with that.
Yeah.
Or calling them an asshole.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah. I always remember getting attached to like the one line that I wrote that I was like, this is fucking genius.
And
everyone tears it apart. And I'm like, but I want to keep that so bad. I think I was talking about a line that I wrote. I think I was talking to you about it this morning, that I was like, oh, my titles. I was talking about how much I love my titles. And I was saying the newest one I wrote is called Exit. And I was like, that's genius. And today she was like, do you think? You think it's genius? And I was like, yes. And I felt so protective over it. But I mean,
so I backed off.
It's that emotional attachment I have to that title.
I have a comment about the title, too.
We haven't workshopped yet, so that's
I love my title. But I think it's you have to let go of those. I mean, you can totally bask in the genius that you had when you write those lines. But again, when you cross that line into a workshop, you have to let all that go, because you're just going to hurt yourself.
And hey, I mean, if you write a really beautiful line and everyone hates it, that might just mean that it doesn't belong in the piece you wrote.
Right,
and,
right.
The way I started a document for my favorite words, start one for your favorite lines. I have one going.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Of just little things that I think of that don't really fit anywhere. And then maybe someday I'll be able to do something with that.
These are a few of my favorite lines. It's lines.
Sorry.
Use take 2.
Oh, God.
On that note, should we...
Let's talk about this week.
This week, actually, it's a good transition to what... obviously you're watching this on Sunday, so it's... that's what's happening today. And then
Today is Sunday.
Today is Sunday.
Today is Sunday. We're talking to you from
Sunday.
the past.
It's live. We'll do it live. But what are you doing on Monday?
Monday we have a writing prompt.
Oh right, yeah.
Which we don't know what it is yet, so it's going to be a surprise writing prompt
Right.
on Monday morning. You can check for that on Facebook.
And on Tuesday, I'm going to write a blog about a writer's favorite word, rejection.
It's a good one.
Certainly one we hear a lot.
Right.
And then Wednesday, I'm going to talk about mentors.
And Thursday, I'm going to be judging books by their cover.
It's a whole week of rejection.
I know. Oh my God, right.
And then bookend the week with rejection.
Right.
That's good. And then Friday, we'll have a book review of
Dun, dun, dun.
Hollis Seaman's new book, Somebody Up There Hates You.
Such a good title, such a good cover.
So,
Gonna be talking.
yeah.
Je
So,
deteste.
if you haven't read anything by Hollis, please do. And actually read this week and talk to us about it in the comments. Saturday, we're going to have a guest blogger.
Yeah, we're a guest blogger.
Our
Hollis.
first-
It's going to be Hollis.
Right, as you know, we did a post about, yesterday we did a post about inviting people to do guest blogs, so please send us, if you have a blog idea, send us the blog and we'll look through it and see if it would be great for It's Just Brunch, but yeah, please send us
Join the
things.
party.
Yeah, we got
grab a
plenty.
drink.
We got
Yeah,
plenty.
and then next Sunday, we are talking books, but we'll get more into
We're
that
talking
this
books.
week. We'll talk
Right.
more about that later on Facebook.
Right.
In the meantime, like us, share us, leave comments for us, ask us a question, let us know what you want to see us cover.
Find us on Instagram.
Right. Not yet. Follow us on Twitter. It's
Pinterest.
Twitter.com/It's Just Brunch.
Find us on LinkedIn and also on Friendster and MySpace.
Except, watch out for
Zanga.
Heartbleed. Change all your passwords.
Watch out for Heartbleed.
Oh, right. Heartbeat. I know, we're going to get hacked.
But in all seriousness, please follow us on Twitter. Our numbers are pathetic.
It's really
We
embarrassing.
need your help.
Our parents talk to us
Save the
about
children.
it.
All right. Well,
Otherwise, we'll just drink ourselves to death.
Which we're doing now.
which is not so terrible.
Yeah, that's good. I feel good about it.
Well, cheers, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers.
Happy brunch.
Happy brunch.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
God, I was really
That was-
burpy during that.
Ew, were you?
Yeah,
You burpy?
yeah, I was a little burpy. I hope you couldn't
You
hear
make
it.
yourself conscious about it?
Well, I kept going like, right, good point.
Yeah, you were grunting a lot.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I was
You don't say.
Right.